And you'll monitor the chat. Can folks online hear? Okay. Gonna let Jeremy know. Thumbs up. Okay, sounds good. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started then. Thank you for everyone for coming here, those in person and online. And today we're going to talk a little bit about a newer subscription service that's available for folks for these data from this company, Whitestar. And this is pretty informal, so just ask questions as we go. It's just to give you a glimpse in here and an opportunity to see if these data are going to be valuable, for research or teaching that you're doing. So these are accessible through our ArcGIS Online research and teaching portal. And you folks who probably all been in there have, either worked with web maps in there, different content, or use these through ArcPro. So this will just be a little bit in ArcGIS Online, and we'll take a look at some of these data in ArcPro and talk a little bit about their availability and certainly try to answer any questions that you might have. So to discover that item, like most of the items in ArcGIS Online that you might have available, we can look items that are available at our organizational level. As you know, the different levels of sharing between private and group and organizational and everyone or public stipulate, who can access those. So anybody with a net ID at University of Idaho can get to these, and we can discover them through, any of those keywords for the different layers that are out there, or Whitestar. You might hear people refer to them as the Whitestar data. And if we do a search, that item will be returned for any of those tags that name the layer that's available out there. So that item shared at the organizational level again, we've added some documentation to that pertains to information about the attributes of each layer. So you'll notice in here, we have a description of which layers are available. We link out to Whitestar's spreadsheets for kind of a data dictionary of attributes for those. On each of these layers, they don't have a geospatial metadata layer available, but they point to these spreadsheets to look up attributes if the name in the data set isn't intuitive. And then all the layers are listed in here and available. If we wanted to look at one of these, say for the parcels, we could look at it as a Google Doc or a PDF, and we might open that here. And then we'll get a list of the attribute names and descriptions for those. So as you're using these in each of those spreadsheets or these documents, it has that field name and then documentation associated with that. And I think beyond that, if we have questions about the data, we can communicate with Whitestar staff to, get more information. So these items at this point for this hosted feature service, you could open it in the map and it'll flood in all of those layers at one time. If that's what you need, you can certainly go ahead and do that. You could open it from the desktop products here. If you just need one layer, so we're streaming these data sets in from a remote location, and if you really just want parcels, it's probably better just to add the parcels layer and not all the other layers associated with that. So you can select the individual layer, and we should get an option when we do one of these just to view that single layer in a map. The same thing we can do in Pro. So we could just open the state boundary layer here rather than adding all the layers to the map. And I think you'll see better performance doing that. I would just select them at the layer level if you don't need a lot of others that are available there. So that's how you discover them in ArcGIS online, limit by the organization, or just do a search on Whitestar or one of those tags, like the layer names, and it'll come back with that. Embed them in a map viewer or use them in other applications across, kind of Esri's ecosystem there, to be able to access them. So that talked a little bit about documentation. We have the description. I guess the other thing that we had mentioned in the outline, so these are a subscription service, and we don't want to share these outside our institution, our agreement with folks. So by all means, please adhere to using them for research and teaching purposes, and non-commercial use there, not personal projects or commercial use. Okay, let's look at Pro. Are most people here Pro users? Are all you guys in the classroom Pro users? Okay. Let's just take a look at that for a minute, because that could be where a lot of people are going to access these and use these. You can certainly use them in any of the apps that are out there, whether it's going to be make a web map online and use it in story maps, or use it in one of the other applications on there. But ArcPro being the most powerful analytical app, and we'll use in a lot of teaching. We'll take a look at accessing these through that environment and talk about them a little bit here. So as many people are probably aware, when you sign in to ArcGIS Pro, you're getting a license from our portal. So you're already a member on there, just like you are through the web platform, through the web browser. And to discover these data and add them to ArcPro, you can certainly go through the web browser and use that tab to add to ArcPro that way, or we can just search through the ArcPro interface to get to them. So we can connect to the portal, and we can look within our organization. So this would be all my content, or you could mark it as a favorite if you want to have it show up in your favorites. And if you go to organizational sharing and we search for Whitestar, I'll do parcels again. That item shows up just like it does in the web browser, right? And we have access to it through Pro here. Now, again, you could add at this level all the layers to the ArcPro table of contents here. If you need them, certainly go ahead and do that. But since we're streaming in, we want to get to maybe just the parcel layer. We would just double click this and open that up. Do that, and we get that individual layer list where we can just grab one and add it to the table of contents, which again is going to be advantageous since we're streaming it in. I've done it I added parcels over here and the points and the polygons, but you could certainly just drag any of these over onto the map and add them. If you look at the documentation, they're certainly from a variety of sources. Certainly the parcels, they're communicating with local governments, getting those, packaging up to a statewide layer, which is great. Hard to get at this point. If you don't want to go out there and visit each county and that type of thing. Some of these other layers are, layers from census data. You'll want to assess the accuracy and the features, from my, kind of brief looking at some of these layers, there's not enhancements over the census Tiger data to the number of features in there or, the accuracy or anything. So you might want to compare them against other data sets and determine if they're suitable for your use. If they're for a class project or something, maybe works out well, or a learning exercise. If they're, for some more detailed research, maybe not. But some of those attributes for the parcel polygons, one of the attributes is when it was last, received from and updated by when they ingested it, so you can get an idea. And you may be aware that, some counties out there do nightly updates and post their data. So it's going to depend on, you know, kind of what you need. If you have a small area and you need high accuracy or more recent accuracy, something might be better from a local government. If you need a broader coverage, like 5 northern counties, and it's stitched up and maybe it's not as current as what you could get going straight to, say, Kootenai County, you just have to take a look at that. But we can flood in the polygons here. This is just a little area over by East City Park. We get the parcel polygons that flood in, and you can flood in the points too. So for folks who've streamed these type of data in the past, these are feature layers, so we can change the symbology. We can perform definition queries on them. So if you're just working in Latah County and you need that parcel layer, it's probably best to do a definition query just to get Latah County, right? So we could go in and do a definition query here and trim this data set down to the county list here, and it should load up that domain available choices in here, and then, you know, we would just choose Latah and then filter out all those other polygons that are out there. And so we just have, you know, with web-based GIS, we can stream fewer features. That's a good idea if you can do that. So it's going to depend on you know, your needs there. Again, we can also, you know, change the symbology of these. If you stream feature services before, it's going to function similar to a local data set that's a feature class in a file geodatabase or a shape file for folks who are familiar with that. And we can change the symbology here of this layer. Now with these, we can also extract them. So if we did a selection and needed to pull down this little bit of data, or if we did, you know, definition query or filtered them out, you can download them and export these features. I mean, I wouldn't try to export the whole state or anything because it's going to time out and it's not going to work. But if you have a small set, you're going to be working offline or something, you know, you need to pull them out, you can. Please don't download it, zip it up, put it on a website or something. You know, it's kind of on your honor here not to do that, but you can extract them. And if you're on a slower connection, wireless, something, you come to campus, you know, get some, that's available up to a point. Again, it'll certainly time out if you try to take too big a piece out. Okay, so that's just a quick glance at how we add those to the map. We can symbolize them. We can do queries against them. We can extract those data. And then we can, you know, it might take some work where you want to compare some of these to different data sets. So if we looked at like building footprints, for example, Whitestar provides us a layer here. We can add those to the map. And it should flood in here momentarily. So that we get building footprints to appear. And we see them come in. Again, you get the attribute table behind that for any given item in here. And I didn't filter this out by county or city or anything yet. So this is grabbing the whole data set. There's 1.3 million, it looks like, for what we have access to. And those attributes are all listed in here. It loads those rows, the pressure filtered in. What I was going to say on this loads, hopefully it'll go quickly here, is you can certainly compare it against other data sets to see if that's going to be a valuable one. So if we went to, for example, the Living Atlas here, I'm going to close this, see if it'll let me. and we searched for these guys. So we get those building footprints from Whitestar, and we look at something like structures for the US, which is available from the federal data layers. If you've used anything out of the Living Atlas, it's a resource that Esri makes available with partners that have had some level of vetting on those data sets. You know, and they've, you know, had them show up in the Living Atlas as a, you know, authoritative layer. But we could add this layer to the data set, and you'll notice, like, between these two layers, there's certainly differences in, you know, some of those polygons that show up here. So, for example, let's bring in, we'll stream in this structures layer, and you'll see we'll end up getting some that Whitestar has that the USA Structures doesn't have. So you'll see it up here. It looks like, you know, maybe they have the footprints that structures don't have, and it could be for a variety of reasons. Like any other one, we want to go out and look at the documentation associated with this layer too. So I think let's start with that. Do the. Hang on a second. See if I can do it over here. No, it did. Yeah. So here, this one is structures from FEMA. Oh, so it's structures greater than 450 square feet. So maybe that's one of the reasons, like, some of those ones aren't showing up, or, you know, maybe the currency is different in the Whitestar data. We just want to do some investigation, you know, on some of these ones. Maybe one's better than another. But we could take a look at that as we start to assess, you know, which ones are going to be more useful for teaching and research. So if you end up using these data and you have questions about them and we need to get in touch with Whitestar, let us know. We're certainly, you know, looking for feedback on how useful it is to subscribe to a service like this. You know, are there, you know, things that, you know, we should consider? This is right now a partnership between the College of Natural Resources and the library for making these available across campus. And, you know, if this facilitates teaching and research, that's great, and that's what we're looking for. And, you know, certainly if you have feedback on you know, any of these layers, you know, and their usefulness, and how well they perform, and, you know, that type of thing, you know, we'd be very interested in hearing about that. I think is there anything, anyone, you know, that was what I put together to kind of talk about, to show how to access it from, I guess I'll mention one other thing. That was how to access it from the web browser in ArcGIS Online, how to access it from ArcGIS Pro. If you're open source and you need to get to these, it's probably going to require you to in ArcGIS Online, have your web browser and pull out the data set into a format that something like QGIS can ingest, right? So we could extract them and save them as a shapefile or something of that nature, where QGIS would be able to get to. To the best of my knowledge, we can't connect directly from QGIS to authenticated services within ArcGIS Online that are available to our organization. So if you do have needs outside, you know, Esri's sphere of apps, you know, let us know. I think we have some ways to, you know, get those data out and, you know, not access them through the streaming service, but be able to get them to do analysis in other pieces of software. Questions? Did I forget anything? Anybody have thoughts, ideas? Anybody online feel free to put something in the chat and we can try to address or anybody in the room. Now, has anybody started using them already? No? Okay. Okay. Anybody online?
Online, but only if you talk about data sharing. So if you're funding some kind of a research grant that requires you to share your data afterwards to use licensed data, what that means.
Yeah, so that's a good point to bring up. So I think if you're going to use or you're tending to use these for research and you have a research data management plan, the idea would be to stipulate that these are licensed data, subscription-based service that can't be shared. I mean, you could share derivative products off the backside, right? But not the geometry and the attributes of the original data set. And I think if I understand correctly from data management plans, you could stipulate that without penalty, I think. And it's a common practice probably for data sets that are proprietary. And that's what we'd want to make sure to do here, that yeah, we wouldn't be able to package up these source data in a zip file and put them in the archive out there for public to consume. Yeah, so. Yes, sir.
Besides being a parent one-stop shop for Idaho data layers, does Whitestar offer anything that's not discoverable elsewhere on Living Atlas?
Well, Whitestar certainly has data for the rest of the U.S., is my understanding. Not accessible. Whitestar wouldn't have it out on the Living Atlas, I don't think. Esri would make, like, these USA structures from FEMA are available nationwide. So with Whitestar, it's going to be something that you're going to have to pay for as a subscription service. But if you needed it for West Virginia, I think, you know, you could get it for West Virginia from them for a cost. If it were something you needed from Whitestar. Or, yeah, you'd have to do some digging through maybe you know, state or local governments in another state to see if you could get what you needed to. You know? Yeah. Good question. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody online, Jeremy? Anybody online? No, we're good. Okay. That's everything I had. If you have questions, contact us. You know, feel free to start using these. Let's see how they work. We're here in the Data Hub, 11 to 3, Monday through Friday during the academic year. If you have questions, you know, hit us up in person or online. bgodfrey@uidaho.edu is my email address. So certainly reach out to me. And yeah, we welcome feedback on they are. So thank you. And yep, contact us with questions.
Thank you.
All right, Jeremy.